Hey guys, my name is Garrett Baldy, and for my Engage project, I decided to volunteer at the River City Food Bank in Sacramento. And I chose to focus on this project because I think that what they do is really important for our community as a whole. And so, if you guys don't know what they do, they basically set up stations for people to be able to come in from all backgrounds of homeless, working poor, and other things, and they can get a bag and fill it with as much food as they need for the amount of people in their family. And this is all done without they don't need an ID or they don't need to verify their status or anything. It's all done to make the process comfortable for them, which I think is really good. And so, as you can tell, the underlying social inequality is hunger. And hunger is caused most commonly by poverty, but it can be caused by other things, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And so, for some statistics, in 2010, there were 49 million families that were um, claimed to have food insecurity, which means that they don't have a sufficient amount of food day to day to support their family or themselves. And um, apparently in 2014, 61.7% of the households with under the poverty line were food secure. So only 30% of the people under the poverty line were not um, able to get enough food for themselves and their families. So in 2016, 14% of all American families were experiencing food insecurity. And 14% is a pretty high number, which I think um, really highlights the importance of this issue. And um, another sad thing that I read was that 36% of the people served are children under the age of 18, which I thought was really unfortunate, and I think we really need to do something to change this because um, it's not very good, and especially now during the coronavirus outbreak. I read an article saying in San Antonio at a food bank there was a line of 10,000 people that were waiting to get food on one day, and they weren't really able to provide everyone with what they needed because they didn't have enough resources and volunteers to be able to do so. And also, I noticed in Sacramento, the River City Food Bank isn't open every day anymore. And I assume that's because they don't have enough volunteers or resources. Because, I mean, I understand that people don't really want to volunteer as much right now because you're supposed to stay inside and social distance and everything. But I think that we should still, if you don't feel sick or if you feel um, good, I think that you should just wear a mask and maybe still try to volunteer to be able to help these people. Because the need for food has spiked 600% at some locations, which is really high for uh, the amount of people that have stopped volunteering and the resources that they're not getting. So they are really in need of help right now. And if you guys think the U.S. is bad, we're one of the lowest undernourishment rates out of the entire world. In Africa, there's places that are like 14, 15 times more hungry than we are. And this is just really sad. I think I read something somewhere that said one of these places had like 50% hunger rate. I think it was in Africa somewhere. I don't remember the specific country, but that's just blows my mind how there's some people that we just have like an abundance. We don't even think about like how lucky we are to have food and everything that we have. And there's people across the world that are struggling day to day for these things, and I think we really need to do something to change this. So a couple of things that we could do to change this. I think that one public policy proposal that I have is that grocery stores should be required to leave all their expired foods out of like the store or on a shelf or something for free for people to just grab, like a regulation, because we don't want them throwing this away when it hasn't really gone bad. It's just been like a day since they've cooked it or whatever. So another thing is that a big portion of the homeless people are veterans, and I think that with these people should be getting a debit card, credit card, something with like a given amount, maybe $250 a month, based on how many people are in their family, that can only be used on groceries, so they can support their families with food and everything. It's the least that we could do for them, sacrificing their life for us. Um, and I think that another thing that we could do is that states or um, federal government should be funding these food banks, because they can't really, at a certain point, relying on donations and just other people, it's not going to be enough to be able to support the need. So I think there should be a budget or something maybe for food banks that the government gives them, so that they can keep doing what they're doing effectively. And so overall, I mean, I was really glad to be able to be a part of this organization, a few times that I did it, and I think that it just feels good knowing that like what you're doing is like making a difference. And I think that if you guys do have the time, or you got masks or something, you guys should definitely try to volunteer during this right now, because they're really in need of it right now. And I think that it would just be really beneficial to them and the people that we're trying to help. So, yeah, I think that's it. All right, guys, you have a great day. Bye.